What's going on, guys? It's your boy John the Liquidator coming back with another video. Now, finally, got a break, and I'm back with some Cleveland Browns content, man. I am so sorry for the drought, but we got to get right into this one. Now, y'all know anytime we drop, we coming with some heat. And today, we got major heat coming out of the Cleveland pipeline. That is the Browns hiring a new executive. Now, y'all might think this is a good thing. I'm here to tell you this is far from that. They has hired one of the worst executives.
There's a reason people call Cleveland the place where quarterback dreams go to rest in peace, but what just happened in the Browns front office isn't just a bad move, it feels like a calculated hit job. While everyone was busy refreshing their feeds for trade news or injury updates, the organization quietly brought in a man who many believe single-handedly ended the career of one of the greatest prospects the NFL has ever seen. If you thought the drama surrounding Shedeur Sanders was reaching a breaking point before, you haven't seen anything yet. This latest hire has sent a shockwave through the league, and for anyone rooting for Shedeur's success, it's time to start worrying. Because when the quarterback killer walks into your building, no one is safe. The news broke like a fever dream. The Cleveland Browns officially hired veteran executive Ryan Grigson as a senior football advisor. On the surface, it sounds like a standard front office shuffle. They even promoted Chris Cooper to Senior VP of Football Administration to make it look like they're tightening the ship and getting professional. But for those who actually follow the history of this game, the name Ryan Grigson doesn't inspire confidence, it inspires pure, unadulterated dread. This is a man who was once at the helm of the Indianapolis Colts, tasked with the easiest job in sports, protecting and building around the legendary Andrew Luck. Instead, what followed was a masterclass in how to dismantle a superstar's future piece by piece. To understand why this is a nightmare for Cleveland, you have to look at what happened to Andrew Luck. Luck was supposed to be the next Peyton Manning, a generational talent with every tool in the shed. But Grigson's tenure in Indy was defined by a catastrophic failure to protect that asset. He neglected the offensive line, made questionable personnel moves, and watched as his franchise quarterback took hit after hit until his body simply gave out. Luck's career didn't just fade away, it was essentially erased by the very people paid to protect him. Now, that same energy is being brought into the Cleveland pipeline, and the parallels are starting to look way too familiar for comfort. It makes you wonder if the Browns are trying to win games or if they're just following a blueprint for disaster. This brings us to the eye of the storm, Shedeur Sanders. We've been waiting for moves that would solidify Shedeur's position and give him the tools to thrive, but instead, the Browns decided to invest in the front office by hiring a guy with a track record of quarterback sabotage. The word on the street is that Shedeur's camp is beyond frustrated. You have a young, hungry talent who is currently back home in Texas putting in the work, staying away from the noise, and preparing for the season. But while he's grinding at the gym and trying to lead, the people upstairs are making decisions that feel like they're throwing him to the wolves. Is it any wonder the trade rumors are starting to pick up steam again? If they feel that hiring a senior advisor is more important than naming a clear starter and protecting him, the priorities in Cleveland are officially upside down. If you listen to the corporate side of things, they'll tell you this hire is sensible on paper. They'll point to the fact that they've built a solid O-line and brought in offensive minds like Todd Monken. But in Cleveland, on paper is usually where the horror movie starts. You can have all the talent in the world, but if the leadership at the top doesn't understand how to value a franchise player...
Y'all know my favorite saying, don't shoot the messenger. So don't get in the comment section saying, John, you hating, you this, you that. None of that, bruh. Look at the resume, because it is horrendous. Now, so these other comments stated the Browns are making plenty of moves off the field. Now, do it on Sundays, exactly. Win some damn football games. Goes on to say, the Browns are investing in the front office as much as the roster. Congratulations, Ryan Grigson is going to...
It's all for nothing. Look at guys like Casey Conception drops, inconsistent play, and a lack of chemistry. The roster has holes that are being ignored while the team focuses on hiring advisors who haven't had a win in years. It's a distraction tactic, a way to make it look like they're doing something while the actual product on the field continues to slide. One comment I saw recently said it best: Cleveland just hired the man who famously sabotaged Andrew Luck's entire professional career. When the fans see it this clearly, you know the building is in trouble. As if the Grigson hire wasn't enough, the internal vibes in Cleveland are becoming toxic. We still have Deshaun Watson posting subliminals on social media, acting like a jilted lover while the team tries to figure out who the actual starter is. The media is throwing out nasty narratives, trying to pit players against each other, and it's creating a smokescreen for the front office's incompetence. While Shedeur is at pool parties and working out, showing the world he's ready for the spotlight, the Cleveland media is busy crafting stories that make it seem like he's the problem. It's a classic move, blame the talent to protect the suit in the office. If they can't even name a starter before training camp, how are they supposed to protect the future of the franchise? It's looking real spooky, and the nasty narratives coming out of the local press are only going to get worse. At this point, you have to ask yourself, what is the end game here? If I'm in Shedeur's shoes, I'm looking at the exit signs. There's no shame in realizing a situation is unsalvageable. We've seen this story before. A young quarterback with the world at his feet gets drafted into a mess, tries to play hero, and ends up with a career that's off before his second contract. Requesting a trade isn't about being a diva, it's about survival. When you see the organization,
bro. One comment also said, just when you thought it couldn't get any worse for the Browns, what did I tell you? This is bad. Another comment said, good thing they started rebuilding their O-line before he was on the staff. Maybe this was a plan to do some of their quarterback and can retire early. I'm sure this is the move to make them again, just like the others.
Hiring people who have a history of failing players like you, the writing isn't just on the wall, it's glowing in neon lights. The Browns are proving they aren't serious about developing Shedeur, they're serious about protecting their own bureaucracy. But that wasn't even the most confusing part of the week. There's a lot of talk about what the Browns could actually get if they decided to blow things up. Some analysts are suggesting that Taylon Green is a more significant asset in a trade-for-trade scenario than someone like Dillon Gabriel. There's even a theory that trading both of them at the same time could be the steal of a deal that saves the Browns' draft capital and gives them a fresh start. But while the fans are playing GM, the actual GMs are making moves that make no sense. The level of mismanagement is mind-blowing. We were told this week would be full of moving and shaking, yet the only thing that moved was the ink on Ryan Grigson's contract. It's a slap in the face to everyone who has been patient with this rebuild. You have to wonder if they even know what they have in their quarterback room, or if they're just throwing darts in the dark. As we head toward training camp, things are looking real spooky for the Browns. You have a coaching staff that doesn't know who its leader is, a front office that's hiring quarterback killers, and a franchise star who is being left out to dry. It's hard to stay positive when the signs are all pointing toward a cliff. We want to believe that Todd Monken can work his magic and that the talent will overcome the management, but history tells a different story. In Cleveland, the house always wins, and usually, the house is burning down. You see Shedeur working out, living his life, and staying ready, but you have to ask, for what? To be the next guy whose career is shelved because an executive didn't think the O-line was a priority? So, where does that leave us? We're watching a high-stakes game where the Browns seem to be playing against themselves. Hiring Ryan Grigson isn't just a questionable move, it's a signal that the organization might be repeating its worst mistakes.
Unfortunately, the Browns on paper has historically been where the horror movie starts. I told you, bro. See, on paper, this might be a good thing. But in reality, this is horrible. The Browns' best decision they made this offseason so far, to me, and this is my personal opinion, was hiring Todd Monken. The Ravens was a profound great offense. Now, granted, they made some moving and shaking in the draft by getting left tackle Fano. But other than that, Casey Concepcion was trash. I'm going to be honest, bruh.
Whether Shedeur Sanders can survive this environment or if he'll become another what-if story in the long history of Cleveland failures remains to be seen. But one thing is for sure, the fans are paying attention, and the clock is ticking. If the Browns don't start making moves that actually protect their players, they might find themselves with a very expensive front office and nobody left to actually lead the team on Sundays. It's time to stop looking at what's on paper and start looking at the reality, because the reality is looking like a disaster waiting to happen. Is this the moment Shedeur finally realizes that the only way to save his career is to get as far away from the land as possible? Only time will tell, but the shadow of Andrew Luck is hanging over Cleveland tonight, and it's looking darker than ever.